Hi Scorpio, welcome. So Scorpio, this is going to be your reading. I'm going to start with the spiritual general messages, and then I'm going to go into the you versus them love reading. And yeah, I'm time stamping this December because that's when I'm recording it. But actually my readings are timeless, so I just trust that whenever you're listening to this, that's when you're meant to hear it. And yes, excuse me if I sound a little raspy or if I stop because I have to cough. I am recovering from COVID. It hit me like a freight train right when we went into the retrograde. Like literally the day we went into Mercury retrograde is the morning I woke up with COVID. Coincidence? I think not. But anyways, I digress. Let's see what's going on with you, Scorpio. When I was meditating for your reading, I started getting a song from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which is the same exact song I got in, I believe it was Aries reading. So some of you are definitely connecting with Aries energy, or you might be able to relate to that reading. Whether or not you have Aries placements in your chart, I feel like it doesn't matter. Check out that reading. You may actually find that you resonate with it. Anyways, but the song lyric that kept coming through was the part of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory where he's singing about it's all your imagination, right? And basically the meaning of that song is like your imagination is everything. Your imagination is so powerful. And I think as children, you know, coming into our human experience, we understand that. That's why children often play and pretend, and you know, children can stay occupied forever, really. I mean, just playing with each other or just acting out things in their mind. And we're actually meant to carry that imagination with us through the entirety of our lives, because you create your life through your mind, and namely through your imagination. And now when we're children, we use imagination to role play, to think about our future, to dream. And then as we become adults, we start to misuse our imagination. And as opposed to imagining all these dreamy, beautiful scenarios, we start to imagine worst case scenarios. We start mapping our life out. We start trying to think of all the what ifs, you know. We use our imagination to try and feel out what we think other people are thinking about us. And it gets kind of convoluted, right? It gets a little bit convoluted. So there's a message here, Scorpio, about utilizing that imaginative state in the way that it was intended to be used, which is in your favor, right? To allow yourself to imagine best case scenarios, best case outcomes, to imagine the best in others and the best in your own life, and to actually begin to create the life that you want through that process of imagination, versus creating the life maybe that you really don't want through the process also of imagination, but imagining the worst, right? So it's funny because we get trained out of our pure positive thinking, and that's one of our biggest detriments as a human society, is that we lose that. So it's like bringing back that inner child spark, Scorpio, but also bringing back that imagination. So yeah, let's get into it. We have 3 cards that came out. The Sun, Leo, Aquarian energy. Some of you connecting with Leo, Aquarius energy. Others of you, this is just the influencing vibes. It's talking about your essence, your energy, your self-awareness, your life force. Very expressive, creative, loving, warm energy coming through. It's also about your soul school, your learning curve, and fulfilling your purpose, Scorpio. On the flip side, this can be sometimes a very ego-driven energy. Be careful about excess and consuming things excessively, or obsessing maybe even over something, as that could be a real bothersome issue during this time frame. And again, we are in a retrograde, so everybody knows what retrogrades bring. and it usually brings the past. So you might have the past to be brought back up. This holiday season, if you're in the US and celebrating, could be triggering old memories, whether that's good or bad, I don't know. For a lot of people, you know, this time of year brings up traumatic things, you know. Not all of us, but I do feel like in particular this year, I feel a lot of struggle. I feel a lot of discourse in the collective energy. I myself have been struggling where I don't typically struggle, to the point that I actually got sick, you know. So just things to be aware of, Scorpio, as we go through December into January. So let's see what else you have coming through. The card of exhaustion, travel, whoa, success, and slowing down. So, oh my gosh, this tells the whole story, doesn't it? Some of you are just downright exhausted, especially if you've been traveling or you've been working a lot, you've been doing a lot. This is the time where it's time to slow down. And actually, all of your success is going to come in, Scorpio, when you reach that slow down, like chill out type of mentality, which may be difficult to do right now. I heard running yourself ragged. So be careful with that energy, Scorpio. Or overexhausting yourself even with your mind, okay? Overthinking, overstimulating yourself, not getting enough rest, things of that nature. So it's all about taking that breather and giving yourself some time and some space to really collect yourself, okay? So let's see what else we have coming through for my Scorpios. I want to sing that song so bad, but I sound so awful. Like I know I'm gonna mess it up, but I can hear it in the back of my mind. That Charlie in the Chocolate Factory song. You know, interestingly enough, and this is just like a side note, as I get your cards out, I actually saw an interview with the kid from the original Willy Wonka, the one that played Charlie. And, you know, I think that was the only movie he was ever really in. And he said, yes, I did that movie. And yes, it was a blockbuster hit. But I also realized I don't want to be famous. And he never did another film again. And he actually lives on a farm somewhere, I think as a vet for like livestock or something. And I thought that was so fascinating. You know, fame is not for everybody, right? And, but what a cool thing to have on your resume. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could imagine him applying for jobs like vet tech, check. Star of Willy Wonka, check. Just doesn't seem to go together, does it? Random. Ooh, that was creepy. Okay. This card popped out. And I wasn't even looking at that deck. So I'm going to get to that in a second. All right, the Hierophant, Justice. What else for Scorpio? There we go. There's the Six of Cups. This is that retrograde energy, the Tower at the bottom of the deck. So, yeah, Scorpio, this is about keeping your head held high, doing what's right and best for you. Hold on a second. I also got taking the moral approach, or something about morals, okay? The interesting thing about morals is that it's different depending on who you're talking to. We all have slightly different boundaries, belief structures, and morals, but it's about, they're highlighting that area of your life. It's about having more structure around you and finding that balance there between doing the right thing, but also, I'm not talking about doing the right thing in the eyes of society or what another person would deem is right for you. I'm talking about doing the right thing as it pertains to what feels the best to you. right? Because sometimes our heart will call us towards things that other people may or may not even understand, okay? Or may even deem, is wrong. But it's because their moral compass is their moral compass, and your moral compass is yours. What's right for you may not be right for someone else, but it nonetheless doesn't mean that it's not correct. So it's this fine line between like wanting to be accepted and understood by others, but also needing to accept and understand your personal plight, your personal journey, right? And it sounds weird that spirit may sometimes guide us into rocky waters, or into making a decision that's maybe far outside of what other people would agree with or understand. But that's how we grow as a human race, right? If we're never testing the boundaries, we don't grow. And it's scary to be the one to be the first to do anything, right? Especially if you're the first in your family to do something. But that doesn't mean that you're wrong. Because I feel like there's this message here, Scorpio, about like carving your own pathway, right? And kind of leaving other people out of it. I'm also getting the term black sheep. Well, in my mind, being called a black sheep is a badge of honor, okay? Because that means that you dare to go where no one else dares to go. You dare to challenge the status quo. And that in and of itself is not a bad thing. Right? Now, I'm not saying do things that are going to potentially put you in harm's way. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying outright, like, rebel or anything, although some of you skate that line, right? I'm saying more so, don't be afraid to be different, and don't be afraid of your past, Scorpio. And instead, use that as a reference or a tool for yourself to help guide you in your next chapter. I hope this is making sense because this is what's coming through. It's about balancing as well the future and the past. They're giving me the song again, to use your imagination. It's almost like going back to the essence of who you knew yourself to be as a child. You're never more connected with your true purpose than you are when you're a child, because you don't have all of those negative thoughts about yourself yet. You haven't been taught, through comparison or through society, how you are maybe different than others, right? You haven't been taught to dislike yourself yet as a child. So it's like, return to that innocence, before the world told you who you were, who were you going to be at that point? Because that's really the closest you're going to get to figuring out who you came here to be to begin with. What were those pure intentions, Scorpio? And it doesn't even have to be anything like earth-shattering big. And I'm going to give myself as an example. As I feel like I can relate to this message. I also have a lot of Scorpio in my chart. When I was a child, for some reason, like, as opposed to like role-playing, I don't know, like Barbies or like Happy Families, I always role played being like a young, successful single mother. Specifically a single mother. And I didn't even think to make sense of it back when I was a child. But it's almost like I already knew what my path was and that I was preparing for it. Because lo and behold, fast forward, 15, 16 years, I became a young teenage single mother. And and I worked a lot too. And so it was almost like my inner child, still so connected to source, knew that that was on my path, and I immediately had started preparing for it without even knowing that I'm preparing for it, you know. And it doesn't sound like that's a dream, right? Most people wouldn't dream of that, but for me it was. For me it was. I could not wait to be a mom, and I didn't even wait to become an adult to become a mom. That wasn't probably the easiest route to go. Would not recommend, kids. But you know what I mean? That was my specific dream. And it came to fruition, right? So it doesn't even have to be like, you know, you're going to be famous and this and that. Although as kids we do imagine those things, but really think about when you were role playing as a young child, what was it that was predominantly in your essence? Because I was also hyper obsessed with horoscopes as a child, and now look at me. You know what I mean? So it's pay attention to the details. Anyways, let's go further. Four of Swords. Three of Cups. And the Ten of Swords. So in the heart space, there's still some things that need to be healed here, or that need to be reconciled. I'm not entirely sure it's going to occur during the retrograde period, because I feel like there's also a lot of exhaustion here. I feel a lot of busyness here. There might even be a lot of excessive energy. There's something that needs to be laid to rest with your past. Some of you with your childhood, some of you feel like that there was maybe trauma there where you didn't get to really truly be a child. And it's like never too late to begin again. You can bring that essence back to yourself. You can give yourself the blessing of starting over at any age and at any point in your life. Remember that. You get a clean slate the day you decide to give yourself a clean slate, Scorpio. You do not need to continue to dredge the past into the now. You do not need to continue to push against it. And you don't need to continue to tell that story anymore. It's you that does that to you, no one else. And you have the opportunity to tell a different story every day that you wake up. And the encouragement is to tell a different story. And your life will begin to unfold in a different way that you haven't experienced before. Because most people feel like, well, you know, and nothing changes every day, the same. And it's because you keep telling the same damn story every day about your life. You keep renewing the same self-limiting ideas, talking about the same self-limiting topics, and recreating that in your life every single day. And that's why nothing changes. Nothing changes because you can't get outside of what you talk about and what you think about. And if you don't change that dialogue, then every day will be Groundhog's Day, and every day will continue to be the way that it is. So it's like, tell a different story if you're wanting change. Now, some of you actually are in a good space and things are improving, but there are still some things that are stuck in your vibration that need healing, right? But if you're not happy with what you're currently experiencing, you got to find a way to tell a different story and to look at things from a different perspective, you know. And it's easy, but it's also not easy, right? Because we're habitual creatures. We're creatures of habit, especially us fixed signs. We get fixated on topics and ideas, and it's difficult to change them. But it's time, right? And they don't want you to bring some of this into the 2024 era, so that 2024 can truly be different for you, Scorpio. So let's see what else is here. The World, the Empress. This one, I got the sweats. The Tower. Changes. And the Two of Wands. You don't even see it coming, but there's changes coming here. Okay. So the message is like, all right, take good care of yourself, Scorpio. Get the rest that you need. Hold your head high. Try and stay as balanced as you can. There's something that is ending here, okay? And it's something that you keep looking back on. Some of you keep looking back on the past. You keep looking back on it. Oh my gosh, that hurt. Oh my gosh, that didn't go the way I wanted. And the only reason you keep looking back at this event is because it didn't go the way you intended. But think of how many things in your life did go the way you intended. And ask yourself why you're choosing to give so much attention to the one thing that didn't, or the one thing that pains you the most. And it's because you think that you think that by you looking at the thing that didn't go the way you wanted, it will somehow improve or change, or you'll figure out what went wrong so that you can do differently. But the problem with that is, Scorpio, that you get what you focus on, whether you want it or not. And so as you pay attention to the thing that didn't go the way you wanted, you are now becoming more and more of a match to more things that you don't want, which means you're likely to recreate it. Ever meet the same person but in a different body and experience the same thing but in a different environment? It's like the people and the places change, but the energy is all the same. And that's because you're creating your reality. But because you're too focused on what was or what is and not using what could be, your imagination, enough, you keep recreating it. It's not a punishment. It's just where your attention is. And energy flows where your attention goes. So it's this cycle where you end up chasing your tail more than you'd like to admit. But that's going to change. Now, for some of you, this change is coming in whether you like it or not. Others of you, I actually feel you prayed for change. And the universe is about to respond. Particularly as we go into January. You don't even see it coming. But yet you do see it coming because you know that you asked for it. So why is it coming then and not right now? Well, divine timing, but also it can't come in until you relinquish your focus off of this, which is whatever this was that exhausted you, that went wrong. It's almost like life is going to speed up, get really busy. Because of that busyness, it takes your attention off of this for a second, just long enough for the universe to say, all right, boom, here comes the tower, things change. And then there's some sort of soul school achievement here for you. It's very exciting. Something coming to fruition that's on your path, Scorpio. Because you put it on your path. Yeah, I feel like you set forth something through your heart's desire that would require change, but that you weren't necessarily making all the right, I guess, internal changes to gear you in that direction. But it's coming in anyways, and I heard when you least expect it. Ooh, child, this will be an interesting January. Okay, so let's see what the guidance card has to say, and then we're going to go into the you versus them. Attempting to control others attracts more to be controlled. It's easy to understand how you would come to the conclusion that your path to feeling good is through influencing or controlling someone else's behavior. But as you attempt to control them, you discover that not only can you not contain them, but your attention to them brings more like them in your experience. You simply cannot get to where you want to be by attempting to control or eliminate the unwanted. So that's kind of what I was saying earlier. Our brains play this trick on us where we think that if we give our attention to something we really don't like, even in an effort to understand it better, that we'll somehow come out the other end with a solution. But it really just isn't that way. Law of attraction doesn't make it that way. So as you attempt to change something through your focus in a negative way, you only will get more negative results. And so what is the answer then? The answer is to look away and or look at it through the lens of imagination. What would you like the situation to be like? What would you like instead of that? Can you imagine what that will feel like when you're living that? When you're living something that you really want, can you imagine what that feels like? And if the answer is yes, then you can have it. So, let's go into the you versus them then and see what's next. I'll see you in just a second. Welcome back. So Scorpio, now we're going to go into the you versus them love reading. I'm going to go back and forth between you and the person you may be connecting with. Keep in mind it's a general reading, so the roles may be reversed. Flip it if you need to. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and let's go ahead and get into it. So Scorpio, it was a super interesting and slightly intense spiritual reading. Let's see what else we have. See, now this is interesting because if you remember in the spiritual reading, I was like, this card popped up out of nowhere. I wasn't even messing with this deck. And it's the card of creativity. And then your overall energy is also the card of creativity. So I feel like you really tapping into your creative resources during this time frame is, and I heard the word influential as well. So I don't know if you just have a very influential person around you or you yourself are influential. But I definitely got that energy. So this person has the card of rebirth, which to me, this is kind of like Scorpio energy in this deck, but because it's all about transformations, changes. And I felt change coming through in the spiritual reading as well. So let's see, we're going to go into the recent past and how it led up to the now, how you see each other, and how you feel underneath it all. So Scorpio, recent past energy. Whoa, we got a whole book here. Whoa. Okay. Ay, chihuahua. Okay, I don't usually go into male and female, but I'm going to. Let me just start here. For my male Scorpios, you could have been dealing with multiple women. Just saying. In the past. And this doesn't have to be intimate partners, although some of you, yes, you were dealing with multiple intimate partners. Others of you, it could just be like your mother, your sister, your friend. I don't know, just surrounded by feminine energy, okay? I'm just going to flat out put that out there. For the rest of you that doesn't apply to, this is just all the different facets of you, Scorpio. It's like, you know, on one hand, feeling kind of fired up and passionate, but also not going to take no shit. Drawing your boundaries, drawing your line in the sand. Because I feel like you've learned a valuable lesson about overgiving yourself emotionally, or maybe allowing yourself to get sucked into something too much and too often. Okay, for some of you, into other people's problems or drama or stuff like that, because often the Knight of Swords talks about drama, gossip, things of that nature. But it's like kind of pulling yourself together, Scorpio. So let's see this person's recent past. Now, for my femme Scorpios, you could have been dealing with someone who is dealing with multiples, by the way. It's a side note. You would know if that's you. Okay. This person has the Moon, the Seven of Pentacles, and the Six of Cups. So There's definitely things that this person was dealing with on the down low. As the moon often talks about, like hidden energy, secretive energy, but also very intuitive vibes. So I feel like this person could have been working on something behind the scenes, and just keeping themselves private or their emotions private. The Six of Cups is here, so this person definitely has a past, okay? They have a past history with you, but there's something from their past that they're needing to work on, okay? And for some reason, I feel this is being, either hasn't been revealed yet or isn't being revealed, period, which is so similar to what I picked up in the Leo reading yesterday. If you're dealing with Leo, check that reading out. So let's see how you see this person in the now, Scorpio. Knight of Pentacles. Ugh, the devil. Sorry. It seems like I'm laughing out of nowhere, but I just heard the Grinch. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. I don't know if you're the Grinch or you're dealing with the Grinch or something like that. 'Tis the season, right? Yeah. So anyways, I feel like, okay, not the most positive energy. It's a complete standstill here. Very toxic vibes coming from this situation. The sense of feeling trapped. Hold on. I heard entrapment. Some of you, it's that specific, but doesn't have to be. Yeah, I feel like you're not someone who gets the wool pulled over your eyes very often, and I feel like this person did just that. You know, or at least that's how you're feeling, you know, in the moment, okay? But sometimes we don't see things because we're not meant to see it in that moment. And that sounds crazy, right? That we would be blinded to something, you know, but there's a growth process around that. There's evolution around that. Like, how would you know how to better follow your intuition unless you had a moment where you didn't? I heard lapse of judgment. You know what I mean? Like, we all want to get it right out the gate, you know, and we live this perfect life where we don't make mistakes and we see everything exactly as it is, and, you know, but it's really, life is just not that way. There are twists, there are turns, there are illusions, there are, you know, there's things for us to figure out, because the fun of life is in figuring it out. Even if it doesn't feel fun in the moment, once you unveil what you need to learn and then you elevate to that next level, you will, I promise you, get intrinsic reward from that. So it's like there was a lapse here, or maybe a not following of the intuition, but it was purposeful. You know, some of you need to let yourself off the hook. You've been maybe very hard on yourself. I can relate to this. I've definitely been in a situation where it was like, how did I not see that? You know what I mean? Like, what? You know, and maybe even other people saw it and I didn't see it, you know? And I really consider myself to be very intuitive, right? And I just raked myself over the coals over that. I beat myself up over that. How could I not see that? Am I stupid? I deserved that. Blah, 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 blah. I know you know what I'm talking about, Scorpio, because you do it to yourself. I know. Y'all be so hard on yourselves. Virgos and Scorpios, you guys are the hardest on yourselves internally. Okay? And it's like, you weren't meant to see it. Okay? Because you were meant to go through the experience, right? And if you would have seen it, you wouldn't have went through that experience. And some of you would say, well, that experience was painful. And I would say, yes, but what's on the other side of that pain is going to be so much more than you could ever dream of. And that's often how life works, right? It's like you will reach your aha moment in divine timing. And then it will all make sense as you progress, grow, and then life naturally brings you something from your imagination. But it's very positive, Scorpio. But you got to be a match to that, which means you got to let this go. The fact that you didn't see something, and I know you pride yourself on being an intuitive, awesome-ass water sign, but it'll all come out in the wash, you know? So anyways, how does this person see you? The Wheel, the Emperor. I heard forgive yourself. See, now this person sees you as very capable. They know that you've learned your lesson here, Scorpio. Or maybe they've learned a valuable lesson, okay? Could be vice versa. This person's trying to look at the potentials, though. They're not trying to bring up the past. They're not trying to dredge anything up. I don't want to say they have closed off energy, but they are kind of faced in a different direction at the moment. So let's see how you're feeling underneath it all. How you feel towards this person, Ace of Pentacles. 9 of Wands. Oh, one day I want to tell my full story. I don't know if I'll ever be able to tell it. I don't know if I'll ever be able to give justice to my full story. But I just want to tack on to what I was saying. You know, sometimes you go through a struggle and it's like, how did I not see that? And then you go through this weird phase where like you beat up on yourself, which is not helpful, which is hurtful. And then you kind of get to this point where maybe you're even a little bit angry, and then you just get past that point, and then you just want change, and it's all about change, change, change. And then you get on the other side of it, you know, where you finally reconnect with just being happy again, just because you miss being happy. Like, you can only stay miserable so long before you could feel yourself deteriorate. And it's usually when you reach that point that you're like, this has got to change, because it does have to change in order for you to feel better. And then you finally get to that point where you allow yourself to feel better, and then boom, something you've really been wanting for that you didn't even think was coming because you gave up on it a long time ago comes into fruition. Not exactly the way you think it is, not even through exactly the person probably that you think it is, but it comes through and you recognize it, and then you say, aha, I have been heard by the universe this whole time. I was guided this whole time, and I forgot that, and I lost faith, and I lost myself, but here I am. I have found myself again. Excuse me. I'm getting a song. It's the process of finding yourself again that's so delicious. That's my point. That's the point. You can't find yourself unless you lose yourself. It's constantly this game we play on ourselves where we forget who we are so we can remember who we are. What is that quote that wants to come through? For now I am found. For now I am found. Anyways. Excuse me. Post-COVID. Yeah, so there's something you need to lay to rest here, and it's going to be laid to rest, I feel, within this time frame. It's about, you know, some of you were on the fence about whether or not to commit to something, but I feel you being very exhausted. And so you needing to take a step back to reevaluate, to rethink things. And then boom, the spark comes back. They're giving me the song I'm Alive by Sia, where it's like you're like literally rising back from the dead. Scorpio. I'm alive. Oh, I see. All right. Let's see how this person's feeling. Some of you definitely have passion towards the connection or commitment here. There could already be a commitment in place, or maybe that's what you wanted. This person has the card of Temperance, their heart space, Knight of Pentacles, Four of Wands. Yeah, they're on the up and up here, right, Scorpio? So I feel like this person has been secretly working on something behind the scenes. They're going through a rebirth phase themselves. And for them, it's like emotionally, right now the focus seems to be singularly on themselves, okay? This is the card of autonomy, independence. There's slow progression here, but also the Four of Wands, which is about unions and friendships. So it's a mixture of things. Like this person is slowly working on their goals. They're also kind of working on being better by themselves, being a better version of themselves. And they're in this space where they want to have fun. They want to have fun. They want to celebrate. They don't want this serious energy around them. So if you're bringing this very serious vibe, I feel like it's kind of a turnoff for this person. Let's see where this is headed, Scorpio. The Chariot. The Ten of Cups. Ooh, beautiful. I'll keep drinking water. Ten of Cups. And the Empress. So, you know what? This is full speed ahead for you as well. Because I feel like there was a valuable lesson here. Okay? And I feel you moving forward from the situation and actually going into this space of really feeling blessed, feeling grateful, allowing yourself to be happy. This is complete emotional fulfillment. This is also taking better care of yourself. It's patience. It's also something coming to fruition here. And it's around love and relationships. So whatever change is coming through that I felt in the spiritual reading as well, it has to deal with that arena of your life. It could be that you have been patiently waiting. They keep patiently waiting for this moment to arrive. Okay, get it out of my mouth because the song was wanting to come through. Blackbird Fly. It's a Beatles song, I think. Some of you travels in the mix here, or a move, but it's happiness. It's happiness. It's like, yeah, you're getting to that what I just said earlier, where you get to that point where you just want to be happy. That's when you're going to be happy. People say, when am I going to be happy again? When you decide to be, and not a minute before. But I have all these things going on that don't allow me to be happy. And I would say, as long as your happiness is based on conditions, then you're going to struggle with your happiness for the rest of your life. Happiness has to be an unconditional job. I am happy because I choose to be. Because I'm alive. And I get that choice every morning. Let's see, what else? Yeah, this person has some pretty lofty or heavy goals that they're looking to go towards, and yet there's this hidden energy. What are they hiding? They're hiding the fact that they're hurt. Oh, what are they hurt about? Oh my goodness. This person is working really hard to try and be successful, and they're trying to give all of their focus to their goals and to stay pointed in that direction. But they are hiding some things that are going on emotionally with them. And it's because I think they want to show a brave face, or it's just things that that's personal to them that they're needing to work on. Sometimes they have a hard time telling the truth. Sometimes they just flat out have a hard time telling the truth. I don't know why. Especially if it's hurt someone else. Like maybe this could be even a hard time apologizing or owning up to something here, especially if it hurts another person. It's a matter of ego. It's a matter of pride. It's something that they need to work on within themselves. Saying you're sorry does not make you less than. It does not make you even the wrong person. It just makes you humble and compassionate. And there's no shame in that, Scorpio and cross watcher. If you know you have something weighing on you and it's torturing you, it's all right to express it. And this person really needs to express something. And this may or may not have anything to do with the connection. They're working so hard, trying so hard to just be a success or be seen that way. And I'm not saying that they aren't, but there's some emotional things still. I heard loose ends that still need to be tied up for this person. And so that's on their path to resolve, Scorpio. So let's see what the guidance is then. What's the guidance? Wow, this is the second card about control. Some of you need to relinquish the need to control, whether that be others or circumstances or whatever. This says, I will not try to control the uncontrollable. We want you to reach the place where you're willing, not just willing, determined, not just determined, eager to let go of the need to control things that are not controllable. Like, for instance, what anybody else is doing, thinking, or saying. And give instead your undivided attention to the only thing that you can control, which is how you feel in any given circumstance. In other words, we want you to leave this moment saying, I've decided that I'm going to take life as it comes, and I'm going to do the best that I can in the midst of what I'm doing. Take your power back, Scorpio, by learning how to take your emotions back. You get to decide how you feel, nobody else. All right? So, powerful friggin' reading. Holy cow. I know we was going to take it to church today, but we did. Anyways, zodiac signs you could be connecting with or have in your own chart. I have Taurus, Cancer, Capricorn, Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, Sagittarius, Aries, Pisces. Those are the predominant signs I've seen. To keep in mind, it is a general reading. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If it did resonate, let me know in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to give me a like, share, and subscribe if you haven't yet. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram for more fun stuff. I just went live on Facebook last night. You can catch it all. Tarot Time with Dana is the name of all my social media, linked below as well as in the About section. Also, you can find the donation link. For those of you who like to donate to the channel, you can do so there. Otherwise, wishing you the very, very best, Scorpio. And until next time, my friends, namaste.